Have you ever wanted a mod pack that is everything you've ever dreamed of? Welcome to Cosmonauticraft. I spent so many hours working on this project and I just know you all will love it. Before we get in depth, remember to like, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment to help with the algorithm. I also stream on Twitch and I have a Discord if you're interested. But let's get into the mod pack. Cosmonauticraft is the perfect mod pack for the entire friend group. You ever get tired of getting into that 2-week phase and then completely abandoning your world or being the only person left on it because your friends kind of suck? Well, try this. First, we'll go through the performance of the pack, then we'll talk about progression and content, and then we'll go through downfalls and highlights, similar to how I typically review mod packs. Of course, we all know how important performance is to me. I always talk through how mod packs feel, if they give me any problems, etc. And sometimes I'll test them on my laptop if I have it out. So I went out of my way to make sure this mod pack is as performant as possible. I experienced no lag spikes, not even a little bit of world gen lag. In fact, I was running this with shaders on and having no issues, which, even though I have a decent system, is often an issue for me. Shaders don't seem to like my PC too much. I'd say while screen sharing on Discord, I noticed a bit of an FPS drop, but that's to be expected. This happens in a lot of other mod packs and with most games in general, so while it's to be noted, I don't think it's an issue to focus on. Overall performance is stable with no blatant crashing issues. I'm jumping back in here to get more in depth with the performance mods that I added because I feel like I didn't really talk about it a lot. So I added this one mod called Pygium, which really helps with performance. I mean, you can see it brought this person from 26 FPS to 370 FPS, and I think that's pretty huge. On top of that, we have Oculus, which gives you shader compatibility, which is really nice, and we all know I love playing with shaders all the time. Plus, we have Clumps for server-side performance help. We have a Crash Assistant in case it causes any problems with crashing, which I didn't experience any, obviously, otherwise I would have fixed them. Then we also have Embedium and Embedium Rubidium Extra, as well as Entity Calling. It should all help, as well as Ferrite Core and a few others. That should really help with performance, and then Modern Fix to help with any memory leaking issues, and a bunch of other things. So this mod pack performs very well. Now, we have to talk about the aesthetics in the main menu first, because I spent so long making this. I even included a bunch of usernames from people who responded to my ping in my Discord, so if you responded to that, congratulations, you have a chance of popping up in the splash text. And then I tweaked my Minecraft skin just to make this bottom section, because I needed to update it anyway. And then we also have perfect multiplayer compatibility by adding in Looter, as well as the Zero's Minion world map and Waystones, so you can keep track of where all your friends' bases are. I also added sophisticated backpacks, because we have a bunch of mods that add a bunch of new items and things, and I kind of hate the inventory bloat problem. It really is such an issue. And of course, we all know I can't play a mod pack unless it has a zoom mod, so we have OK Zoomer Forge to help with that. And of course, who am I without putting in controlling? Because if you don't have controlling in your mod pack, you kind of need to rethink your problems, man. Polymorph is also there to help with any conflicting recipes, although I do plan to go back in the future and help resolve any conflicting recipes without the need for polymorph. And then we have a bunch of other stuff that we're going to get into. As far as actual progression, the mod pack plays similarly to vanilla with something for every playstyle. I pride myself on sharing undiscovered projects, hidden gems, and underrated mods and packs, so when I was putting this together, I thought to myself, what are my favorite underrated mods? Well, I'm super proud to say I have some truly unknown mods to show to you today, starting with one of my favorites. Terralith. Look at the world generation I was getting. This is truly stunning, actually beautiful, and I was so excited to explore. I was even taking screenshots as I went simply because of how pretty it was. Terralith has to be my favorite mod for terrain and world generation. But we don't just stop there. What do we have to bring the world to life? Well, 2 mods I'm sure you've never even heard of. Alex's mobs and Ecologics. Tiny mods with barely any downloads I know, but trust me when I say they are some of the best. Alex's mobs actually turned my mining trip into a horror game experience, by the way. Like, imagine it's midnight, you're playing a chill mod pack you've been working on for hours, and this comes up to you in the cave system you're mining in. Actually freaked me out so bad, my friend was asking if I was okay because of how incoherent I was over Discord. Outside of the horrors of the underground, both mods add super cute mobs too, so this will keep your one flower picker friend entertained. Probably by making a zoo that's 100% ethical and not some scary lab at all. Beyond that, what about the Nether? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we have another super unknown mod with no downloads, Amplified Nether. It makes the terrain so interesting and so beautiful. I was surprised I didn't experience any performance loss despite the change in terrain. I was also super lucky and found my fortress very quickly as it was very close to my portal. Since we're talking about dimensions, I better mention we added a bunch of them, starting with one of my favorites, Blue Skies, which adds 2 dimensions, each with multiple bosses and their own lines of progression. We also have the Aether, which is a true classic. I mean, I'm sure we all remember being 8 years old sitting in front of the Xbox 360 being devastated that the portal didn't work. And then one dimension mod I'm almost certain none of you have ever even heard of, Twilight Forest. I know, So underused, but trust me, it is so good. I never see it in any mod packs, but it is so perfect. And don't forget about Ad Astra. We all love space. This makes sure your explorer friend doesn't get tired after the 2-week phase too. Ad Astra has a bunch of content with planets that are super loaded with all kinds of mobs and structures to explore and aren't barren in the slightest. Wow, all of those dimensions, they add a lot of bosses. Speaking of bosses, we have El Ender's Cataclysm, which I still haven't played through, so I'm super excited to see that mod. We also have Aquamarine, and then several mods to add dungeons and structures so your roguelike friend doesn't get bored. I'm the roguelike friend personally, so you know I had to specially cater to the roguelike people. I mean, we all know I'm an RL Craft veteran. And if you're off fighting this many bosses, you're gonna need food. So, I scrolled CurseForge for hours trying to find a food mod that was underrated because, I mean, a lot of food mods have so many downloads. So I found this one that I bet you have never heard of, Farmer's Delight. This mod is super unknown and is perfect for your friend that likes acting like a housewife. I also added a bunch of add-ons for it, so they have even more things to choose from. But farming all of those crops can be so hard, right? And obviously if they're your housewife friend, they don't want to do it, so I added probably the most underground mod that I have on this list, Create. I know you've never heard of it, but it adds a bunch of really awesome contraptions and awesome things that are right in line with vanilla. And you can use that to make your crop farms, your mob farms, your everything farms, really. I mean, I love the mod personally. We all know I'm a huge fan of tech mods, so I also added Applied Energistics too because it so fits the vibe of this mod pack. And then I didn't really get into it super in depth in my script, but I also added Apotheosis and some enchantment overhauls because we simply need it, you know? It is truly the most balanced enchantment mod I have ever used. This is the best project I've ever worked on, and I'm so happy to be able to show it to you. It took me so long. I spent so many days, hours, weeks, months. I spent so much time on this project. And it's not available on CurseForge yet as of posting this video, but I'm applying for it to be soon. And maybe even by the time you see the video, it will be. If this hasn't convinced you yet, we have to get into the next section. As for downfalls, I'd say this pack has none because I made it, and I'm the most perfect developer ever. I've never made a mistake before in my entire life, so this pack is just all highlights, and trust me, you should play it. It's super hype moments and aura, and I love this mod pack, and if you really want to impress the girl you're talking to over Discord, you should start a server with it, and you should get her to install it. Now, it's not available on CurseForge yet, but I am sending out the pack on my Discord, which you should totally join. And I also have a million socials you should follow as well. And you can also join the channel to become a channel member to see videos like this earlier than they actually go out. Anyway, feel free to leave any questions in the comments. I swear I will totally respond to them. You also should probably allocate about 400,000 gigabytes of RAM for this pack. Anyway, thank you for watching. Okay, bye.